ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। श्रीन्वतां स्वकथा कृष्णा पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तनः उदयन्तस्तो हि अभद्राणि विधुनोति सुहृत्सतां नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवते उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 29, verses 39, 40 and 41. Verses 39 to 40. Yatra Bhagavata Rajan Sadhavo Vishada Sayaha Bhagavad Gunanu Katana Shravana Vyagra Chetasaha Tasmin Mahan Mukharita Madhubik Charitra Piyusha Shesha Sarita Parita Sravanti Taye Pibanti Avitruso Nrupa Gada Karnais Tanas Sparshanti Asana Trudvaya Shoka Moha. Synonyms: Yatra, where Bhagavata, great devotee; Rajan, working; Sadhva, saintly person; Vishada, Ashaya, broad-minded; Bhagavat, of Supreme Personality of Godhead; Guna, the qualities; Anukatana, to regularly recite; Shravana, to hear; Vyagra, eager; Chetasa, whose consciousness; Tasmin, there; Mahat, of great saintly persons, Mukharitaha, emanating from the mouth; Madhubit, of the killer of the Madhu demon; Charitra, the activities of or the character; Piyusha, of nectar; Shesha, surplus; Saritha, rivers; Paritaha, all around; Shravanti, flow; Taha, all of them; Ye, those who Pibanti, drink; Avitrushaha, without being satisfied; Nrupa, O king; Gada, attentive; Karnai, with the ears; Tan, them; Na, never; Sparshanti, touch; Asana, hunger; Truth, trust; Bhaya, fear; Shoka, lamentation; Moha, illusion. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. My dear King, in the place where pure devotees live, following the rules and regulations, and that's purely conscious, and engage with great eagerness in hearing and chanting the glories of Supreme Personality of Godhead, in the place of in the place, if one gets chance to hear their constant flow of nectar, which is exactly like the waves of river, one will forget the necessities of life, namely hunger, thirst, and become immune to all kinds of fear, lamentation, and illusion. The cultivation of Krishna consciousness is possible where great devotees live together and constantly engage in hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord. In a holy place like Vrindavana, there are many devotees constantly engaged in chanting and hearing the glories of the Lord. If one gets the chance to hear from pure devotees in such a place, allowing the constant flow of the river of nectar to come from the mouths of pure devotee, then the cultivation of Krishna consciousness becomes very easy. When one is engaged in constantly hearing the glories of the Lord, he certainly rises above the bodily conception. When one is in the bodily conception, he feels the pangs of hunger and thirst, fear, lamentation, and illusion. But when one is engaged in hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord, he transcends the bodily conception. The word Bhagavad Gunanu Katana Shravana Chetasa, meaning always eager to find the place where the glories of the Lord are being heard and chanted, is significant in this verse. A businessman is always very eager to go to a place where business is transacted. Similarly, a devotee is very eager to hear from the lips of liberated devotees. As soon as one hears the glories of the Lord from the liberated devotees, he immediately becomes impregnated with Krishna consciousness. This is also confirmed in the another verse. Satam prasangam mana virya samvido bhavanti hrutkarna rasayana katha tajo sanat ashva aparvarga Tamani Shraddha Ratir Bhaktir Anukramishati. In the association of pure devotees, discussion of the pastimes and activities of Supreme Personality of Godhead is very pleasing and satisfying to the ear and to the heart. By cultivating such knowledge, one gradually becomes advanced on the path of liberation, and thereafter is freed, his attraction becomes fixed. Then real devotion and devotional service begin. Bhagavatam 3:25-25. In the association of pure devotees, one becomes attached to hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord. In this way, one can cultivate Krishna consciousness, and as soon as this cultivation is advanced, one becomes faithful to the Lord, devoted to the Lord, and attached to the Lord, and thus one can very quickly attain full Krishna consciousness. The secret of success in the cultivation of Krishna consciousness is hearing from the right person. A Krishna conscious person is never disturbed by the bodily necessities, and namely eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Verse 41. यतैरुपद्रुतो नित्यं जीवलोका स्वभावजय न करोति हरेर्नूनं कथामृता निधौ रतिम्. Translation. Because the conditioned soul is always disturbed by the bodily necessities such as hunger, thirst, he has very little time to cultivate attachment to the hearing the nectarian words of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Unless one is associated with devotees, he cannot cultivate Krishna consciousness. Nirjana bhajana, cultivating Krishna consciousness in a solitary place is not possible for the neophyte, for he will be disturbed by the bodily necessity, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Being so disturbed, one cannot cultivate Krishna consciousness. We therefore see the devotees known as Sahajiya, who make everything very easy. Do not associate with advanced devotees. Such persons, in the name of devotional activities, are addicted to all kinds of sinful activities, illicit sex, intoxication, gambling, and meat eating. There are many so called devotees passing themselves off as devotees while engaging in the sinful activities. In other words, one who is influenced by sinful activities cannot be accepted as a person in Krishna consciousness. A person addicted to sinful cannot develop Krishna consciousness as indicated in this verse. नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. For that go on to all the assembled devotees. Please forgive me for any shortcomings. So I like to summarize from Gauranga Darshan Prabhu Subodhini and so as we are continuing this chapter 29, the title talks between Narada and King Prachina Barhi. In these first few verses, on the request of Prachina Barhi, Narada is explaining all the different characteristics that is done. I think now Narada is giving a bhakti as a solution. There is no remedy by any material means. The only remedy is to surrender the Krishna. So in the last few verses, we are, how do we approach bhakti through Guru? Guru is the, uh, more authentic and one who learn or one who realize the supreme personality of Godhead or his teachings, and he doesn't have any other uh, obligations other than serving the Krishna, remembering and doing a Krishna katha. And also it is been told in the yesterday's verse that hearing is leads to the seeing the Lord. One who is faithfully hears and studies the Lord's glories and always engaged in the culture of Krishna consciousness, very soon becomes eligible to the see the Lord. So now it talks about in the verse 39 and 40 where the bhakti will take place. So it tells that, my dear king, in the place where pure devotees live, following the rules and regulations, that's pure conscious and engaged with a great eagerness in hearing and chanting the glories of Supreme Personality of Godhead. In that place, one gets the chance to hear their constant flow of nectar, which is exactly like the waves of river. One will forget the necessity of life, namely hunger and thirst, becomes immune to all kinds of fear, lamentation, and illumination. And the second verse, verse 41, talks about the disturbances. The conditioned soul is always disturbed by the bodily necessities, has very little time to cultivate attachment for hearing the Kathamrita of the Lord. So without the association of devotees, one cannot cultivate the Krishna consciousness. So nirjana bhajana, cultivating Krishna consciousness in a solitary place is not possible for a neophyte devotee, for he will be disturbed by bodily necessities such as eating, mating, sleeping, and defending. So, so as we already know, ABCD of Bhakti, association is very important. Pure devotees are very important. That is the only way, pure devotees always engage in the activities of Krishna by associating them with them. We also get association of, Krishna Katha and activities they do, so which automatically engage in the us in the Krishna consciousness of Krishna's activities. So it's always, in the material world, people say if you want to be an engineer or doctor or being a successful, there are books written on how to become successful, how to become a rich, and they ask us to follow and shadow them and get inspired from them. But all this is only for material life, and people may succeed in material aspect up to some extent, but that's not our ultimate thing. We have a Swadharma and Sanatana Dharma. Whatever we need to maintain the family, we have to do something to for the living. You do that, but other than that, our Sanatana Dharma is which is eternal, serving Supreme Personality of Godhead and understanding that we are part and parcel of Krishna, and we are in this world because we wanted to enjoy with separate from Krishna. That's why material world is created, and we will be working under the influence of Maya. But being taken a human form of the life, which is very rare, and we also have a our own will, which we can use to understand our purpose of life, understand that we are part and parcel of Krishna, understand that the only way to come out of this life and death circle is to surrender to Krishna, chant, association, and so that we can go back to our original abode. And even Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu also, talks about, what are all favorable to Bhakti, what are all not favorable to Bhakti, Prajalpa, and, associating with material people, all those things are not uh, favorable to the bhakti, whereas, and associating with the devotees, hearing Krishna Katha, revealing mind to them, and exchanging, gifts with them. So those are the ones, six things which are favorable to bhakti. So, and as we talk about ABC, right? One is the association, then other one is reading the books and scriptures. We are reading the Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita. Prabhupada is always single-mindedly, he never gives up with all the difficulties, and he doesn't get a place to stay, he doesn't get a enough support to print his books and a lot of disturbances, but Prabhupada never gave up, and he's being reminded by his Guru Maharaj uh, uh, message to him, go back, go to, Western countries and teach in the English, teach in the English language, and, translate the books in the English. And so Prabhupada never gave up, and, he always find the opportunity and is patiently waiting for the opportunity, and, fully depend on to Krishna. So Krishna made the arrangement for him to, go to, Vrindavan, stay with them, and there are devotees help them. He was in the temple where he find a small place to write Srimad Bhagavatam. So because of that, now we are here, able to uh, relish the Srimad Bhagavatam. And also another thing is knowing and reading from the right source. That's where it talks about pure devotees. So when there are many other versions, there are many people are involved in different material activities. Having the opportunity to associate with the devotees, Krishna consciousness, and also the Prabhupada books, which are all making us to at least given as an opportunity and know that the path of purpose of this life. And only thing is we have to associate, we have to read the books, we have to chant, and we also have to have a proper diet, and we have to do a deity worship. And with all these ingredients, we can cultivate Krishna consciousness, and slow and steadily we can surely reach our destination, even if not in this life. As Bhagavad Gita said, whatever spiritual activity we do or accomplish in this life will not go waste. We will only start our next life in the human form at least, and also we start from the bhakti where we left in this life. Um, and also in the second verse talking about the distraction, there is whatever all the advertisement, all the capitalism, everything is making possible to be disturbed by in every aspect. So that's where they make money. That's what their goal is. Whatever we see, whatever we hear, wherever we go, all of them are attracting us to how to be more materially comfortable. How do we spend for material enjoyments, all the advertisement. If you see the Black Friday deal, right? So everything is about eating and drinking and buying different stuff which we may not need, or we only buy because of the deal. But all those are okay as long as we limit ourselves to buy or use whatever is needed for maintaining the life. But all the rest we have to spend time in engaging in hearing, reading, and all the, we have the temple programs, and temple providing different venues to, engage us in the Krishna consciousness or bhakti, because we can easily get away with all these distractions, but having this Zoom association and different programs, we can at least be available to attend those programs and engage in the path of bhakti. And it is also said that in this age of Kali, it's hard for us to be in a stay in a solitary place, in a secluded place like previous times, and fully be in a Krishna consciousness. But in the age of Kali, one main thing is gift is Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama Eva Kevalam. So we only have this Hare Krishna mantra by chanting. We don't have to do any other big austerities to till get the benefit and go back home to Godhead. With that, we can conclude today's summary. Please forgive me for any shortcomings. Vanchakalpatarubhascha, Krupa Sindhu Bhyavacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo.